I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 25 of Tales from Godric's Hollow, the internet's most favorite Harry Potter podcast, where we talk about the Harry Potter books, one book at a time, 2 chapters at a time, through the complete and entire series. It's quite an adventure we're going on. We are already to book 3, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I am one of your co-hosts, the muggle of the show, Josh Brown. Tonight, as always, I am joined by the boss of bad Boggarts, Matt Sonnenberg.
How's it going tonight, Josh?
It is going fantastic, Matt. Question.
Yes.
Can you have... we know there are ill-tempered Boggarts, or Boggarts, if you will. Can you have friendly Boggarts? Is that a thing?
I'm going to go with... in my mind, I would say no.
Sure.
I've never really thought about it too much.
Okay.
But given what they do, like what... I mean, I guess it's more or less their defense mechanism.
Right.
But given their whole purpose, really, like they don't do anything else besides to hide in dark places and scare people. So...
Right. But, what if somebody came across one and it was like, you know what? I don't feel like defending myself. I'm just going to be as I am.
I think it might be a case of they're more afraid of you than you are of them type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I have to think that if they weren't putting up their defenses, you wouldn't even know they were there.
Sure. That's true.
So maybe you have seen one.
Or those that have seen them don't live to tell about it. And that adds a complete different wrinkle to the whole formula. Because then at that point, which ones are the bad ones? You know?
Yep.
The ones just scaring you or the ones actually murdering you?
Yeah.
Perspective,
That's
Matt.
a darker path.
Perspective.
Darker path.
Welcome to tonight's episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. As I said before, we are on book 3, Prisoner of Azkaban. Tonight we are covering chapters 7 and 8. For those of you that may be new to the podcast, I have never read the books. I've never seen the movies. This is my first go through of the entire franchise. We started at the beginning. We are here now, still chugging along. I have learned a lot. I have fallen in love with quite a bit. I have been wrong about many things, Matt. Many things.
But overall, is it safe to say we got you hooked now?
I think so. I think
Okay.
I'm in. The hooks are in. I'm not going anywhere until the end.
Like I tried to claim that halfway through the first book. I tried to claim that after the first book, and you kept still giving me these, we'll see.
We'll see. Well,
But
I was skeptical. Like the sequels have to be as good as the first one, or you're just going to be lost for the entire franchise. I mean,
sure.
Transformer movies is the perfect example of this,
Yep.
So, the second book, I needed to see if it was going to recapture that magic. And thanks to Dobby, I think it did. And here we are, book 3. I'm loving it. I'm loving every bit of it. I had quite a theory last week, Matt.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I compared Sirius Black to Darth Vader.
I think you did.
I think that happened, yeah. I've been thinking a lot about that comparison.
Sure.
And the routes that I think this journey is going on. I think I might be really wrong. Like, really wrong on this. There's a chance I'm right. And everybody's just letting me think this like a little happy camper. But I think I am extremely wrong on this. And this chapter or these 2 chapters, may have set the stage for my my dumbness to show through.
Sure.
We'll see.
It was one point in particular.
Yeah, one point in particular.
You want to wait till we get there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But before we get to it, Matt, I need to say this. Chapter 7, pretty easy read. Very enjoyable.
Yep.
Chapter 8 had some good things going. I was hooked all the way through. And then we got to the end of the chapter, Matt.
Yeah.
And there's a term that's used in Hollywood and film and media and books these days. It's called cliffhanger.
It's true.
Not to be confused with the very famous Sylvester Stallone fantastic film, but an actual cliffhanger, Matt, where we're just dangling there, and I don't know the outcome of what's about to happen. Now, generally, I would be able to say, I'm just going to move on to chapter 9. Simple as that. I just turn the page. There's no more cliffhanging because I'm already moving on to the next thing.
Sure.
But in the spirit of this podcast, I am forced to wait an entire week to find out how in the world Sirius Black got into Hogwarts.
It's the good old days of television.
Matt, there's nothing good about any of this.
Pre-Netflix days, before people could just binge whole seasons.
Horrible. The dark days, Matt. That's what we're talking about. The dark, depressing, sad, frustrating days of media. I can't believe we have to end this week on that of all things. Thankfully, we have Christmas coming up, and that's going to be able to distract me for a little bit here.
Sure.
But I have to wait a week to see if I can figure out what the heck happened. And look, I don't even know for sure if I'm going to figure that out next week, but I'm mad that I have to wait to at least find out if I get to, figure anything out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many questions. I don't trust Dementors anymore. I think those guys are, useless wastes of space in this universe.
First they let him out of the prison, and then they let him into Hogwarts.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure these are the most incompetent guards in the world. I
think Harry might disagree.
Well, he has his own problems. Then we have this deranged psycho serial killer out slashing up paintings and chasing off ghosts. Like, what? Oh, we got to talk about some good things here before we get back to this, because I could spend the entire episode, Matt, just talking about this whole Sirius Black issue.
Sure.
But we're not going to. That's not fair to the audience.
Not quite.
They want to know some things. Specifically how I feel about some things that happened in the two chapters.
True. It's what they're here for.
So I might as well say, let's get on to chapter 7. The Boggart.
Depends who you ask. Like I said, I've the movies say a Boggart with a nice British accent that makes it sound good.
Boggart.
But yeah, in my head, every time I've read it, even just this past week when I read it,
mm-hmm.
it was Boggart.
Okay.
Boggart. Like Humphrey Bogart.
The Boggart in the wardrobe. And feel free to email in. Write us. Let us know how you pronounce it. How wrong are we by saying the Boggart or the Boggart in the wardrobe? Tales from Godric Hollow at gmail.com.
Boggart. Rhymes with yogurt.
Boggart. Andrew Boggart. That's a basketball reference for you non-sports fans out there.
I'm sure there's a few.
There's a lot of people that are really confused by that, though. Let's be honest.
Yes.
All right, chapter 7, Matt. Where do we start?
Well, normally we would start with new characters, but
sure.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say right now we have no new characters this week. You can try me. There are a few. You let me know if we run across any.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, unless we're talking about like creatures,
Exactly.
Then we got some crazy new names that we've never seen. But
We'll definitely talk some creatures.
yeah,
Because I know you like talking creatures.
and that no real characters.
Yeah.
I mean, Dean Thomas is back.
Yep.
That's all I care about, Matt. He's back in the story. He dropped a cool reference. That's okay by me. I like it. All right, no new chapter or characters. Starting off the chapter in school.
Yeah. Malfoy. Cannot stand this kid.
No, absolutely not. He's horrible, Matt. Absolutely horrible. But you know who's even worse?
His father.
Oh, yeah. Also, very worse. I mean, okay, we can start writing down the list of people that, are worse than Malfoy. I mean, let's put Sirius Black up there. Let's put Voldemort up there. Let's put Lockhart up there. I mean, there's a lot of people that are worse than Malfoy Jr. No, I'm talking about Snape.
Yeah?
Yeah. Not a fan. We get to these parts when we learn more about Professor Snape.
Sure.
That as I'm reading through them, all I could think about is you, Matt. I constantly try to wrap my head around why he is your favorite character.
Yep.
And I know it's going to pay off by the end of the series. I know it is, because I feel like you have a pretty good taste and judgment. Like, you know what you're talking about here. And you've experienced the series enough to be able to pinpoint a favorite character pretty easily, I think. So there's probably a very good reason why Snape is your favorite character. And to be fair, he's lots of people's favorite character.
Yep.
But I am having a hard time every time these chapters happen understanding that. And it frustrates me, because the first time you read these books, I can't imagine you were sitting there being like, I love this guy. He is my hero. He's just amazing. I don't know what else to say about him, you know? But, like, now in hindsight, of course, like, for whatever reason, he's your favorite character, but I don't have that hindsight to go along with it. So I'm just mad that everybody else is liking him and I can't be with the cool kids on this. Like, you all know this really cool secret and I don't know the password to open up the safe to find that secret out yet.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
I totally understand where you are.
Yeah.
But that's what we're working on.
I
We'll
know.
Hopefully get you there.
I'm impatient.
Hopefully I'm not crazy.
I just want to like him, but he has no redeemable qualities. Well, okay, he kind of has one this chapter, I think. I'm not sure. I'm back and forth on it. Maybe it's
What's that?
chapter. Next chapter.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, they all blended together.
Oh yeah, I know. And that's exactly why I have to make notes and stick to my notes.
Sure.
Because otherwise all my thoughts on the series would just start blending together.
Yeah. No, it's definitely at the end of the next chapter. Chapter 8.
Okay.
This one, no redeemable qualities. Nothing. Snape's a bad dude. I don't like him. I'm not supposed to like him, I don't think. I don't trust him, that's for sure.
I mean, if you like Harry, you definitely don't like Snape right now. So.
Or Ron or Neville, like,
Yep.
He's so horrible. He's just a bad man. Bad man.
Yeah, it got me wondering. It's like, Snape obviously knew when you brought up Neville and his toad Trevor.
Yeah.
Like, Snape is an excellent potion master.
Right.
So he knew what that potion was going to do.
Sure.
Now, if it was actually poisonous, do you think he still would have given it to the toad?
I don't know. I question that.
Would he actually poison him, saying like it's just a toad, or does he have some cure for it?
Maybe
sitting
both
in the back room, or would he just write it off as a teachable moment type of thing?
He really doesn't like Neville, and I can't figure out why.
He really doesn't like Gryffindor.
I feel like Neville there's something about Neville that gets under Snape's skin, and I don't know what it is. I am not even close on my giant board of crazy conspiracies of connecting these dots between Snape and Neville. I don't know what the connection is, but I feel like there's something there. There is a reason why Snape, like, sure, he has picked on Harry since day one. He's not a big fan of Ron. Hermione kind of bugs him, but like Neville, he picks on, he bullies, and is aggressive about it.
I think it's because it's so easy. Like, I think part of it is Snape does not. He's that teacher who I think is pushing you to be better. Whether or not the way he goes about it is good is debatable, but he does not stand for incompetence, and Neville's full of that.
Yeah, but
especially when it comes to potions.
Sure, but he also he's not being taught in ways that are allowing him to rise from his incompetence.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, Snape's methods definitely aren't going to work for everyone.
Sure.
But is that just his way of weeding out the crowd?
I mean, look, I don't know how, like, the graduation of Hogwarts, like, takes place. Like, I don't know if you fail out of class. Like, I don't know how, like, credits work and all that stuff. Like, is he actively trying to prevent Neville from graduating and being a wizard by, trying to make sure he doesn't pass his class? Like, I don't know how any of that, like, school system works.
Sure.
But yeah, there's a way to just, be frustrated with a student and, like, just kind of shut down on them and just kind of give up, which he's done with Neville. But he pushes it further than just making it a teachable experience. Like, he's trying, I feel, to actively make Neville miserable as a person.
Sure.
And that, I don't think, is just Snape teaching differently. That he has some sort of personal vendetta against Neville or the Longbottom family or something. It's their mouth. I know it is. I don't know how long it's going to take before we dig up that little nugget, but mark my word, when that happens, we're coming back to episode 25, and I'll say, "Ha ha! I told you."
All right.
And you'll say, "No, you're crazy. That never happened."
It's going to be hard to say that.
Yeah.
You have all the recordings, so.
That's true. I have a question.
Sure.
This shrinking solution, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to make this potion. They're conjuring up. Before I realized they were going to test it on a toad and whatever, I put in my notes, is it for objects? Is it for anything at all? Can it be used on people? Like, what are the limitations of this shrinking solution? If done, if mixed correctly. Do we know?
We don't really know, at least not from this book. It's one of those things that you kind of have to just leave up to JK, and whatever she decides it does.
Sure.
And obviously the one example we see here is not what I would have expected.
Mm-hmm.
I would have expected a smaller frog.
Sure.
I wouldn't have expected a regression in growth. Like,
right.
Like, if you gave it to me, I would expect that I would shrink down to like 2 feet
Ant-Man.
tall. Yeah, like Ant-Man or something. I wouldn't expect that I would become a 3-month-old baby.
Little baby Matt Sonnenberg.
Yeah. and so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
And like we've already seen, there are definitely exceptions to many potions. You think back to the Polyjuice potion.
Mm-hmm.
It was not to be used for animals.
Right.
Or with animals. They made that mistake, and you see what happens. There's lasting effects that you definitely didn't want.
Sure.
So yeah, we don't have the specifics of this potion, of the shrinking potion
specifically,
but yeah,
Yeah, it just made me wonder, like, how many
Yeah.
of these potions are out there that are, not intended for human consumption or not to be used on animals or, can only be used on inanimate objects or who knows? Snape knows, I'm sure of it.
Snape definitely knows.
I would hope so. All right. Malfoy.
Yeah, Malfoy.
Malfoy said something to Mr. Potter.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mentioned Harry possibly wanting or needing revenge on Sirius Black.
He did.
Very curious. What in the world would he need revenge for, Matt? Does Malfoy know more than he's leading on? Is he messing with Harry? They made him think.
Well, what we've been told so far that Black was in cahoots with Voldemort.
Right.
We were told very early on that I believe, was it even Mr. Weasley that mentioned that Lucius Malfoy had been on Voldemort's side as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if maybe Lucius has some old war stories about Black,
Maybe.
he might know something.
But what? What does he know? That's what I wonder, man. Is Sirius Black actually responsible for killing Harry's parents? Harry would definitely want revenge for that.
Well, I don't think he's responsible. Like, I think it's pretty evident that Voldemort is responsible for killing his parents.
I don't think anything's evident at this point, Matt. I mean, I know Voldemort was there.
Sure.
And Harry defeated him. It's just a wee little Harry Potter.
But do you really think if Voldemort was there, he would just say, okay, now you kill him?
If you had a lackey that was willing to kill for you, wouldn't you use him? Darth Vader has the stormtroopers, my friend.
Yeah, but when Vader gets in a one-on-one situation, like, or I mean, even just a big fight, like, he's not sitting back.
Sure, he has to roll up his sleeves and get dirty. I understand that.
Like, he walks in with stormtroopers at his side, yes, but he's in the fight too.
Well, maybe Sirius Black picked the fight with Potter's parents, and then something went wrong, and Voldemort had to come in and clean up the mess, or try to at least. I don't know. Or would Harry want revenge for his dad turning bad and turning into Sirius Black? That sounds like a revenge story to me. I don't know. I don't know what to think of this, Matt. I do not know what to think of this. It makes me sound kind of crazy with my theory, but it might actually give it some legs also.
It's true. I will say, like, you've thrown an enormous amount of theories out there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for you, you haven't really gotten to see the conclusion of many, if any of them yet.
No, not yet.
But
trust me, that Neville thing's happening. I promise.
I'm going to put this out there for you.
Okay.
Some of your theories are true.
Mm-hmm. Which
I'm
ones,
not going
Matt?
to tell you which ones at all. I'm not giving you any hints. But
oh my god,
some of your theories and predictions have been surprisingly, very strangely, in the weirdest way, accurate.
Don't tell me that. That makes it worse.
I know.
Oh,
and that's why I'm telling you.
Oh no, the horror. Oh god. Okay. So I can't stop.
Keep up your theory game, because people are loving it, and I the more you come out with these things, I honestly, I'm not. Can you confirm for them that I am not feeding you anything off air?
100%, you are not telling me anything. Val won't even tell me. I'll sneakily try to ask her things, and she shuts it down before I even finish the question.
Yeah,
it's so hard, Matt. It's so
hard.
Yeah,
the fact that where you're coming up with some of these things, it boggles my mind how you get there some weeks, but it's like, huh, Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, before we leave,
Is Neville Snape's son? Is that why he's living with his grandma?
they have different names.
I don't care.
Okay. Um,
I mean, Harry Potter has a different name than the Dursleys.
it's true, but they're related, but they're not. That it's not his parents.
Maybe
So.
Neville never knew his parents.
Neville was adopted, but Snape knows the truth.
Yeah. That's why he's so hard on him, Matt.
Okay. That actually makes more sense.
Father, son. He's extra hard on him. Although he's extra hard on Harry, too, so that doesn't really make sense. Unless Snape is Harry's dad. No, that's getting too far into the weeds, Matt. Pull me back.
All right. Before we leave Lucius Malfoy,
Yeah.
Speaking of fathers, I just hate every time this happens. Something happens to Draco.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to his father.
Yeah.
His father starts trying to pull strings. When he was a governor of the school, it was a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's still trying to influence the governors.
Right.
And it's just like, dude, when are you going to realize that your son is a jerk? He's a screw up, and you shouldn't be trying to get the teachers fired because your son's an idiot.
He's not going to realize it, Matt. You know why?
Why is that?
Because he's a Slytherin.
All right.
Slytherin slither together, Matt.
Yeah, I have a hard time arguing against that.
I understand. I mean, yeah, Malfoy's antics are definitely wearing thin. And it is annoying that he runs to Daddy each time there's a problem. But, I mean, as long as his, dear old dad continues to try, he's going to...
Yeah, exactly. I can honestly deal with him running into Daddy every time. It's the fact that Daddy actually does something.
Yeah.
Or tries to do something.
Oh, he has...
Every time.
He has beef with Hogwarts and Dumbledore specifically, and, he's... I don't think he's necessarily doing it to make his son's experience at Hogwarts better. He's just using his son's experience at Hogwarts as a vehicle to, resolve his own beefs and issues and conflicts that he has with people.
Harass the teachers?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
There's some skeletons in those closets, Matt.
Literally, there probably are.
Rats, mice, giant snakes. Hermione is up to something.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time with this one. She has some secrets going on. I don't like it. I know she's a hard worker. She's very studious. She values education more than anybody else at that school probably ever has. But she's up to something. And Ron and Harry are a little suspicious. I think Ron's a little bit more suspicious than Harry. I don't think Harry really cares.
Yeah. Ron seems to be making a big deal out of it.
Yeah. I mean, Hermione's going to be Hermione as far as Harry's concerned. But Ron is super curious. Because she's being sneaky. And that's not like Hermione. This is not a quality of her personality that she normally shows.
Well, I mean, she doesn't usually have anything to hide, really.
She hasn't until now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, other than she's taking a bunch of classes and she's possibly in multiple places at once. I don't know how she's doing that.
Still going with that theory, eh?
Yes, she has Hermione clones.
Hermione clones.
Yes. She worked out something with McGonagall. Professors are in on this, whatever it is. I'm having a hard time figuring it out. And I'm very curious as to how this plays into the story at all. Because it seems so separate than like the events of like the main plot here,
Sure.
which makes me think it's going to be a very important thing to the plot because that's how these things work. 2 books in, and I'm on to JK's mysterious ways here.
All right.
But I'm drawing a blank with what Hermione's up to and what she's doing and how she's doing it.
Dobby is using Polyjuice Potion.
Possibly. Also, you know what we forgot to talk about in our Butterbeer Banter episode with Fantastic Beasts and where to find them?
What's that?
The house elf working the bar. I had forgotten all about that scene.
Sure.
I wonder who the house elf belongs to. Was it the gangster? Played by Ron Perlman?
Yeah. I don't think
I don't think he was the owner of the bar. He just seemed like he was...
Man, I really need to go back and watch the movie again.
Yeah, me too. Trust me.
Like, everybody I've talked to about it, it's like, oh yeah, I saw it twice. I'm like,
yeah.
Shoot, I'm falling behind.
I mean, a house elf working the bar, though. That's fascinating. Maybe they have, different rule sets for house elves in America.
Or, I mean, like, Dobby was freed.
Yeah, that's true. I guess and he's still considered a house elf, I guess.
Yeah, like.
But would Dobby go and get a job?
I don't know.
Dobby just seems like he'd just go, run along like the grassy hillsides for the rest of his life. I don't see that guy like, putting in some hard labor anytime soon.
All right. Yeah, it's.
House elves, fascinating.
Yeah, we don't have too much information about the stuff from Fantastic Beasts yet.
No.
I don't know if we will get more information about those specific creatures, but
yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I just can't wait for another house elf to show up here. It's gonna happen. It has to.
All right.
Okay. Where was I going with that? I don't know.
Hermione.
Oh yeah, and her secrets.
Yep.
We'll see, Matt.
We will.
She's up to something. We have a new name, of which we cannot speak.
And what might that be?
Hogwart. They just refer to him as the old professor in this chapter.
Yeah.
They don't call him by name.
Would you want to?
I don't know. I mean, it seemed weird that hearing his name every other page for an entire book, and now he's just that old professor, or the last professor. Like, they're just not even, like, they've just completely erased his name. I mean, obviously, like, they're not afraid to say it, but it just, that was the first thing I thought of when they referenced him without using his name was, the one of which we cannot speak.
Maybe someone removed it from their memory.
That would be
Seems
nice.
like a very Lockhart thing to do, right?
Yeah. Could somebody do that for me, please? Pay good money for that. Also, Filch was referred to as the failed wizard.
Yep.
I found that funny and sad at the same time. I'm like, oh, that's kind of funny, though. Failed wizard. Good old Filch.
It's because nobody actually feels sorry for him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's true. Oh, Miss Norris does, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see. Boggarts.
Yes.
We gotta talk about these little guys.
I figured.
Nasty little creatures. Nothing about them sounds very appealing at all.
No. Like their whole purpose is to frighten.
Yeah. Now, do they actually attack? See, this is what I was having a hard time kind of figuring out here. Like, like these things hide in dark corners and dark closets and, away from people, away from being seen. But they do, shuffle around. They do make noise. You could tell when they're around, right?
Yeah.
And when they are seen, you never see them in their original form, as we said before, but you see them as whatever your worst fear is.
And I actually like the wording in the book. It takes the shape of whatever it thinks will frighten you the most.
Right. So it's a conscious thing that is somehow figuring out what your deepest, darkest fears are.
Yep.
And conjuring up that physical representation instantaneously.
Yeah.
So, pretty frightening stuff. Now, do these things actually attack, though? Can they be violent? Are there physical ramifications for them turning into the things that you fear the most? Or is it mainly just a scare tactic to get you to turn around and run away?
Well, yeah. At this point, it's really hard to tell since we don't really have a lot of experience with them,
right?
And I guess I think of it as they find a place they like the wardrobe, or I think they mentioned under the bed or something like that, and they find their place, and then they become very territorial.
Yeah,
it's like they just kind of want to be left alone, but.
Like Black Widows.
Yes. if someone's going to come poking around, they're going to go into full-on defense mode.
Sure.
And do whatever they can. And the fact that it's whatever frightens you the most, like that, in my mind, if any 99.9% of the population comes up directly face-to-face with whatever they fear the most, they're not going to be attacking it or trying to move towards it or whatever.
Sure.
So,
but it was also described as they are moving towards, the kids.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I think they're just very territorial.
Okay.
And it's like, you got too close to us. You're trying to, like, he opened the wardrobe. The Boggart just wanted to be left alone in the wardrobe, but they opened the wardrobe. It's like, oh, you want in here? No, I'm gonna defend myself and my area, and then once you're gone, I'll go back.
Right.
But
I guess, like, my thing is, like, if you know it's a Boggart and you know when you encounter it, it's going to be something that you fear the most. Is there actual fear because it is that one thing that scares you, or is there fear because this thing is going to attack me and I'm going to die?
Well, I mean, with the exception of Professor Lupin and Hermione, I don't think anybody else in that room had any idea what it was.
Right.
So if they just hear a noise in the wardrobe and go to inspect it, and as soon as they open that thing, they find the thing they fear the most, like, they're still not going to know, oh, that was just a Boggart.
Sure.
They think it was the thing they fear the most.
Yeah.
That was trapped in the wardrobe, and it's like, oh no, I got to run away.
But now going forward, they know what these creatures are,
Now they do, but like you said, like, as soon as you catch sight of it, it looks like the thing you fear the most.
That's
you
true.
don't, like, how are you, unless you're very well versed in spotting them or taking note of the signs that one might be around before you see it. Like, you're never gonna know that it's actually there.
No, that's true. But at the same time, like, if I was just casually opening up a wardrobe and Snape walked through and out, I would be like, what are you doing in there? Like, that's a weird place for you to be hiding, buddy.
Okay, well, a couple things. One, this is a magical world.
True.
Two, we've seen other magical wardrobes. Lion Witch in the Wardrobe. People can walk out of wardrobes.
Sure.
And given the world of Harry Potter, away from Narnia, like, given the world of Harry Potter and Hogwarts, it would not at all throw me to see someone walking out of some sort of wardrobe or cabinet or anything. I wouldn't put it past him.
What if you just walk past Snape in the hall, though?
I would think it's weird, but it's still very possible.
Sure, I guess it's possible.
And if Snape is the thing you fear the most, like, okay, you just mentioned he's picking on Neville nonstop.
Right.
he goes harder on Neville than anybody else.
Mhm.
So
Daddy issues.
wouldn't you put it past? Would you put it past Snape to walk past Neville in the hallway, see him walk into the classroom, and transport himself into that classroom and scare him again?
That's true. I guess I wouldn't put it past him if you put it that way.
But like there are circumstances, especially with the thing you fear the most, that like in a magical world, there's so many different solutions.
Sure.
Or reasonings for things to happen.
Yeah. I guess. I kind of just look at them like haunted houses, though.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, there's some really scary stuff in those haunted houses, and they scare you. You know, they jump out, they frighten you. But then, like, after a couple seconds, after you collect yourself, you realize that, like, they're not allowed to touch you. So you feel okay just walking by them at that point, you know?
Yes.
Like, you get the initial scare. Okay, heart's pumping a little bit faster than it was a few seconds ago. Breathing a little heavier, sweating a little bit. But you know what? I feel okay because I really know that chainsaw, it doesn't have any chains on it. There's no blades. It's safe. It's just a leaf blower, you know?
Smoke and mirrors.
That's what I see these things are. But then again, I don't know. Maybe they are capable of attacking. Maybe you can get killed by one of these things. I'm sure we'll find out more about them. I'm pretty sure this isn't going to be the last time we deal with a Boggart.
Yes. It was the name of the chapter. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Neville, though, had his heroic moment. It was nice to finally have some positivity built around Neville and him accomplishing something intentionally, not like stumbling into it accidentally. Like this was kind of a coming out party for him, you know? This was him building some confidence, him feeling good about himself.
And maybe that's all he needs.
Yeah.
I
hope.
I kind of have a feeling that no matter where your magical ability is, like it can be affected by emotion.
Oh yeah. I definitely believe that.
Yeah. So, I mean, giving Neville some confidence, that's what Lupin has been doing ever since they met him, really. Like, he is the positive, like, he's not only the first, competent, practical teacher that they've had, but he finds the best way to teach all the students. Unlike we've seen with Snape, who has it's his way or the highway.
Sure.
Lupin is almost the exact opposite. And it's like, Neville, this is what you need. Get up here. I'm gonna make an example out of you. I'm put you in front of the class, but I know you can do this.
Right. I'm glad you said that, Matt, because that's how I wanted to finish Chapter 7, was by awarding Professor Lupin with the Tales from Godric's Hollow Teacher of the Year Award. We've had some fantastic professors over the last few books. The first, 2.5 years at Hogwarts. But I don't think anybody has quite done the job that good old Professor Lupin has done. And he's definitely worthy of this award. The rest of the book notwithstanding. He's been fantastic. He's been such a good thing for Hogwarts and for so many of those kids already that he's been incredible. Such a stark comparison to the moron that we had last year teaching this class.
So I do have to say that I actually made a note about this.
Okay.
Right after Lupin had, they're walking down the hallway and they ran across Peeves.
Yep.
And he essentially, what was it? He was stuffing gum in the keyhole.
Yes.
And Lupin just fired it out of the keyhole right back at Peeves.
Yeah.
And right then I wrote down, Lupin has already accomplished more at Hogwarts than Lockhart ever did.
It's so true. It's so true. It's sad. It really is sad.
Yeah, but At least it should be a very different year. You shouldn't really have to worry about defense against dark arts this year.
Right.
Hopefully.
I shouldn't have to, Matt. And that's what frightens me about this book, because I am growing attached to this teacher, and I'm not going to fall for this trap and accept the fact that we may have, a new Defense Against Dark Arts teacher for the rest of the series. Like, I fully believe it's going to be a running gag. Every year we're going to have a different teacher, and that frightens me for this particular professor. What's going to happen to him? I'm a little worried about his health. I'm not going to lie. I think that maybe he might be better than the school deserves sometimes. Maybe there's a different position for him that he will be better suited for. I don't want to lose him, but I feel like at the end of the book, we are going to be at the point where we're looking for a new professor, and I hope it's for a good, positive reason this time instead of what we've had to deal with the last 2 times.
Sure.
But I'm worried, Matt. I'm frightened.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I feel like it's justified, too.
Oh, yeah. I can definitely see where you're coming from.
Lockhart scarred me for life, Matt. So that was chapter 7.
It was.
Quick, funny little chapter.
Yep. Learned about Boggarts.
Yes. Chapter 8.
Chapter 8, The Flight of the Fat Lady.
Interesting title.
Yep.
I knew exactly who they were referencing.
It's good.
Yeah.
Because having been through the series so many times, I obviously know who the fat lady is.
Right.
But going through it with you this time and paying close attention to all the details and first mentions and all this sort of thing, like, they really don't mention her too much.
No. So yeah, I knew who they were talking about.
Yep.
I've also seen her at Harry Potter World, Wizarding World of Harry Potter and Universal Studios.
Sure.
She's been shown in there's only been one fat lady that they've talked about specifically. So I had a hunch who it was. I was pretty confident that I knew who it was going to be about. The biggest dilemma I had was trying to figure out how she became part of the story. Much like Nearly Headless Nick last book, I was kind of unsure how he was going to work into the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was very curious going into this chapter, just based on the title alone, what we'd be getting into. So, yeah. Chapter 8.
It's true. Yeah.
That's what we're getting into, Matt.
Yeah, we get into... Well, the first notes I have are about more of your favorite creatures.
The flubberworms.
Yes.
They may be the most boring creatures in existence, Matt.
Yeah.
I still want to see them. I want to see what these little things are about.
Yeah, I think they actually used the word boring to describe them this time.
Yeah, they were described as the most boring creatures in existence.
Yeah, and the fact then that Hagrid managed somehow to have multiple lessons about them. I don't care. He must be a really good teacher if he can come up with multiple lessons about the flobberworm.
Yeah, he may not be getting enough credit for all that. He's definitely playing it safe. He doesn't want to have another incident with Malfoy. Yeah. So, he's trying to keep his job, and he figures the best way to do that is to teach the most boring lessons that he possibly can about the most uninteresting creatures in the entire universe at this point.
Give Professor Binns a run for his money.
Right. But I still feel like Hagrid could add some flair to the most boring creatures in the world to where it should be probably a little bit interesting. But what do I know? Maybe a flubberworm is really just another name for an earthworm. And at that point, okay, maybe we're dragging this on a little bit too much, Hagrid. But A flubberworm sounds fascinating to me, Matt.
Well, okay. This is what we do learn about them this time.
Okay.
Is that they are poking shredded lettuce down their slimy throats.
Right.
So, in my estimation at least, they have to be bigger than an earthworm. There's no way you could shove this down an earthworm's throat.
Well, it depends how big the little piece of lettuce is.
Yeah, I mean, it does say it's shredded lettuce, but still, like...
I see what you're saying.
But like in my mind too, like they're poking with their finger and not with some other instrument.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, like their finger is going down their mouth,
which makes them bigger than most worms would normally be.
Yeah.
So I want to see one. I want to see what they're all about. We got a recap of Quidditch and how that's played.
Glad you caught that.
Boy, that was shocking. Didn't see that coming.
I haven't talked about that in a while.
No.
So, but I think it was only a paragraph, so I mean, it's not too bad, right?
No, not too bad. And I feel okay because there was two things that I feel the recap was important for. Yep. One, I had completely forgotten that they didn't settle the cup last year.
Yep.
So that was like, I had to stop and think why that happened, and then the whole thing. Secondly, like I had forgotten who all was on the team. I knew Harry,
yep.
I knew the twins, and I knew the captain, Mr. Oliver.
Yep.
But I had forgotten the other teammates, and it was a nice refresher to be reminded that the other three players were girls. And, like that made me excited about Quidditch again. I was like, oh yeah, this is still co-ed. Like that's still so cool.
Yeah. It just seems weird to me. Like it's always seemed a little weird to me that all of their Gryffindor's chasers were girls. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know if there's something to that. If like would the captain had some thought process like that they're lighter so they're faster, or what his thought process was there. But
right.
it just seems weird, especially since I mean, one, you don't see a lot of other girls on the other teams necessarily. Mm-hmm. And if you do, I think it's one or two here. They're spread out among the positions.
Yeah.
It's not like girls can only be chasers.
Sure.
So it's just a weird makeup of the Gryffindor team, I think.
Right. Yeah, like it was a nice reminder of how the team kind of shook out. Because they don't really talk about the chasers too much.
Not too much. I mean, when we do actually, like, we haven't actually gotten the commentary of a match in a long time.
Mm-mm.
And
when you need him?
That's not Dean.
Oh, wait. Who is it?
Lee Jordan.
Lee Jordan, that's right. Who's
Yes.
Dean Thomas?
Dean Thomas is a Gryffindor in Harry's class. I believe he's the one who likes soccer.
Oh, this whole chapter I was so excited about Dean Thomas, and I was thinking that was Lee Jordan.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm less excited that Dean Thomas was in this reading today.
Yeah.
Dean Thomas. Lee Jordan.
But yeah, we haven't gotten his commentary recently, and when we get his commentary, we do get their names because he the vast majority of the time he's tracking the quaffle,
right? And
it's the chasers that are handling the quaffle,
right?
And so we get their names all the time. A lot of times we get their last names, but yeah, that's probably the most often that they get talked about.
Sure. So it was the best thing to come out of the Quidditch recap. If we could just stop doing those after 3 books, that'd be fantastic. Crookshanks the cat.
Yes.
Quite a little troublemaker, especially for Ron.
Yeah. Seriously, why did Hermione buy that thing?
I don't know. Does Crookshanks
One
have
of her-
anything to do with the fact that she's appearing in multiple classes at once? I don't know how, Matt. I don't know how.
Well, no, that doesn't even make sense.
Is she transfiguring Crookshanks into being a Hermione clone?
I don't know if it works that way.
I don't think it works like that way either. But
because we know McGonagall can turn into a cat,
right, but can you turn a cat into a person?
and like if you turned a cat into a person, would it have enough brain power to actually like does the cat actually get Hermione's brain along with it?
Maybe it just takes notes.
Cats, excellent note takers.
I don't know.
I would start selling them on the wizarding black market.
Yeah, no kidding.
Skip school, buy a cat.
It feels like there's something special about Crookshanks. I'm not sure what it is. Again, Hermione's little story that she has going on here, this whole subplot is maddening because I don't know what any of it means yet.
Yeah. I mean, wait. It's kind of nice, though, because when you think about it, like, okay, we have the trio, but for most of the first two books, Hermione's almost playing third wheel.
Right.
Like, it's all about Harry and Ron. And she's hanging around, tagging around. She I mean, they call her annoying. Like, it's almost like an annoying little sister that they can't get rid of. Just hanging on all the time. So it's kind of nice to see Hermione having a storyline of her own, maybe,
yeah.
Like we don't really get to hear much of it,
right?
But like she's doing something seemingly a little more by herself. I mean, I guess what she's doing is taking more classes,
right,
than they are, and so she's off doing that. But so maybe it's not all that exciting, but it's. I mean, I think she might be getting more mentions in this book already than we've seen in past books.
Sure, but why? That's the question, Matt. The question that needs answered. So Crookshanks and Scabbers, they're going to be feuding for a while, I think.
Well, yeah, it's what cats and rats do.
Yep. Then we have the scene with Harry trying to decide whether or not he was going to talk to McGonagall about going to Hogsmeade.
Yeah.
Right? And Ron's like, you need to totally talk to her. And Hermione's like, no, you totally don't need to. That's ridiculous. And it reminded me of, like, the angel and the devil sitting on a guy's shoulders, you know?
Yep.
Like, this is exactly what those two are being right now.
We've seen this a couple of times. Just Hermione and Ron are such opposites.
Yeah.
Like, there are on every issue that comes up, they always seem to be on opposite sides.
Mm-hmm.
They can be super passionate about the same topic, but taking completely different angles on it.
Right. Do you remember a while ago, Matt? It might have been book 1, when I was talking about how Ron and Hermione, like, bicker like little kids on a playground when they like each other. They, like, pick on each other.
I can't say I specifically recall it, but I believe you said that.
Something along those lines.
Sure.
I'm starting to wonder what the future of these two hold. They continue to fight, and sometimes they fight like an old married couple. Like Ron and Hermione, like they're just like, they split up. They're going to sit on completely opposite sides of the classroom. They're not going to speak to each other until Harry starts getting down, and they're like, okay, let's put our beef aside and let's come together for a friend type of thing. You know, like exactly like an old married couple would do for like their son who, you know, is going through some hard times. They're like, okay, we don't like each other right now, but we need to, you know, be peaceful with each other so we can help so-and-so get through this type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how much love interests there are in these books, especially with things continuously getting more horrible by the year. You know, we've seen Percy with a girlfriend. Like, we know, you know, that's a thing. You know, it's not that big of a surprise. But Ron and Hermione just feel like, and you even just said it, like, they're so opposite with things.
Yep.
Opposites attract sometimes, and I wonder if that's where we're going with these two. I don't know. Like, it feels weird because I don't know if Ron could put up with her for that long.
Sure.
And I don't know if she would ever try to put up with Ron for that long. But there's just something about them that, like, they're constant, just, I don't know. They're doing circles around something here. And I'm not sure what it is. They're either going to have, like, this explosion and the friendship is going to be gone, or maybe something's going to happen and they're going to start getting feelings for each other. I don't know.
Well, a couple of things.
Yeah.
One, opposites attract, but a lot of times I think they probably shouldn't. I mean, these things just usually don't end up too well.
Sure.
Especially if you're like super polar opposites.
Right.
But two, I would also note once again that they are only 13.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Not like anything immediate.
That's one of the hardest things for me to keep straight when like reading the books is how old they are.
Mm-hmm.
When you see them in the movie, it's a lot easier to tell. Oh, they're young kids yet. But I mean, yeah, like you said, Percy has a girlfriend. He's what now, 17, 18 probably.
Right.
And so that makes a little more sense.
Sure.
But like I said, if this is the beginning of something, yeah, I mean, this is, you figure 13 would be like 7th grade.
7th, 8th grade, probably 8th grade. Yeah.
So
starting to get curious about things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not trying to push it. I'm not trying to you know, push them forward, but it just, like I said, I feel the tension is growing, and I don't know if they're going to be, which side of the magnetism they're going to be on. But I feel like there will either be a divide or a coming together of sorts. One of the two is bound to happen.
Sure.
It just that's just the way it feels like it's going.
It's very possible. We have a lot of book to go through, and a lot of books to go through.
Yeah, I'm not sure anything's gonna be solved this book. I'm pretty certain on that. The way these are going, gonna make me wait 3 more books probably. So yeah, just tossing that out there. Okay, Hogsmeade.
Yes.
Okay, they have some descriptions of Hogsmeade, right?
Yep.
Some stores. We get to know a little bit about more of the stores and what they carry and why all the kids are excited to go to said stores, and it's a whole thing. Which kind of led to the Muggle Pool this week.
It's true.
And I want to introduce that now because I have beef with you on a store that you neglected to mention in the poll.
Okay.
That I'm fascinated by.
All right. So yeah, our Muggle poll this week. I figured this would be a pretty good one for you because you've actually seen a number of these in person.
Mm-hmm.
But
which, to be fair, like even seeing them the second time and being in love with the series at this point, still without ever having a mention in the books.
Yep.
Still made like them just like normal stores to me. Like there was still missing that context that I needed.
Yeah.
So now I have to go back a third time, Matt.
Exactly. we're gonna, well, I told you we need to get you down to Orlando.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the full experience.
Yeah.
And then someday maybe we'll. I haven't even been over to England yet. They have more stuff over there. So, in any case, this week's question and Muggle poll is: it's your first visit to Hogsmeade. Which business do you visit first? And I know business sounds like such a generic term, but with the places I put in this list alone, like I had a hard time coming up with another word that covered all of them.
Sure.
So, your choices this week were Zonko's Joke Shop, Dervish and Bangs, Honeydukes, or the Three Broomsticks.
Mm-hmm. A lot of solid choices there.
Yeah.
But there's one, Matt, that I feel got the short end of the stick here.
What's that?
There may be a very good reason for it that I'm unaware of, because really there was no explanation about this store other than just the name alone. But the name alone made me raise my eyebrows a little bit and say, oh, I wonder what that is. I'd be interested to see what's going on there. Do you know what that was?
I have a guess.
What was your guess?
I wonder if you're going to bring up the Shrieking Shack.
The Shrieking Shack! Yes, indeed, Matt. What in the world is the Shrieking Shack, and why do more people not want to go there?
I'm wondering why you'd want to go there.
I think the unknowing of what it is alone is making me interested. Color me intrigued, Matt.
To me, it doesn't sound good in any way. Like if a shack is shrieking,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go there. If a shack is gonna make me shriek, I don't want to go there.
True.
Like I'm a little bit at a loss. Like I guess okay. If you're that curious about
Mm-hmm.
why it's called that,
Mm-hmm.
if the curiosity gets the best of you, fine, more
Mm-hmm.
power to you.
Mm-hmm.
But me personally, I wouldn't want to venture that way.
Well, I'm a fan of haunted houses, and
Okay.
it can't be anything too bad, or else it wouldn't exist here at Hogsmeade. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe. Do we ever get to know what the Shrieking Shack is?
Yes.
Okay. You're gonna make me wait, aren't you?
Well, there's a reason I didn't put it in this poll,
Okay.
and yes, we will learn more about it. It will come out.
Oh God! It was like a one-line, like 3-word introduction,
Yep.
and I immediately was like, "Whoa, hold on! Let's go back to the Shrieking Shack. What are we talking about here?"
Yeah. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, there's all these grand explanations about everything else and what's going on. And I'm like, hold on. We just glanced right over that.
Yep. Caught your interest.
Oh. Why does it have to be interesting? I want it to be boring so you can just tell me what it is. I can move on about my day, Matt.
Hey, you want to know more about flabberworms?
That's true.
They're boring.
I just want to see them. I don't want to learn more about them. I just want to see them in action.
Okay.
I feel they're like little mini tremors. You ever see that movie?
I think I saw the first one, yeah.
Kevin Bacon?
Yeah.
Big old giant sandworms?
Yep.
Yeah. Or maybe like Beetlejuice? The sandworms in Beetlejuice?
Drawing a blank there.
All right. Did you ever watch the movie?
Like, yeah, I know I've seen it.
Or the cartoon specifically?
I've probably seen at least one episode of the cartoon, but
They're black and white stripes. They have green lips.
Oh, okay, yeah. They like, okay. I like now I have like tremors in my head, and so I'm trying to connect this to Beetlejuice.
Okay, imagine Tremors but with eyes. How about that?
Yeah. Okay,
striped.
it's coming back to me. Yeah,
Okay.
It looks more like Beetlejuice. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes more sense now.
Sorry, you started talking about flubberworms again. I had to go there.
Yes.
It's your fault. Shrieking Shack, Matt. I just want to know what the Shrieking Shack is. That's all.
Okay.
Other than that, I mean, we got some explanation about the stores. We didn't really get too much story about the kids' journey there. You know, it was Halloween when they went. Grades 3 or third years and up got to go. it seemed like some of the older kids who had been to Hogsmeade enough that were kind of bored with it didn't go because they're just like, been there, done that.
Exactly.
Percy was like, there's nothing interesting there. Why would anybody go to Hogsmeade? Perfect Percy. But yeah, like it seemed like a very uneventful trip.
Well, I think the biggest part was that we didn't get to go along because we are following Harry's story.
Sure.
And so Harry was stuck back at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
So we and he has never been to Hogsmeade, so he can't even imagine what it's like really. I mean, just from what people tell him, really.
Right.
But it's since we're following his story, it's all we can do is see, he's at Hogwarts and this is what he's doing and what other people at Hogwarts are doing.
Sure.
And then Ron and Hermione come back and tell him little bits or give him candy.
Yeah. I guess it just feels like only exciting things happen when Harry's around.
Sure.
And that's interesting when you look at it like that.
Well, I mean, it depends on your definition of exciting.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm sure everybody, especially the third years, who was their first time going to Hogsmeade, I'm sure they were very excited, had a great time. Ron and Hermione, when they come back, I'm sure they're trying to downplay it.
Yeah, that's also true. I guess I didn't look at it like that.
When they're telling Harry about it, it's like, it was another village.
They didn't want to rub it in too much.
But for Harry, this would have been another one of those experiences. But the first time he stepped into the magical world, the first time he got on the train, the first time he came to the castle, the first time he went to the Weasley's house, an all wizarding house, that this would be the first time he could go to an all wizarding village. Essentially, I guess you could say is similar to like Diagon Alley, but probably even bigger because they keep saying it's a village. It's like other wizards and witches live there as opposed to Diagon Alley, which is just shops.
Yes, people travel there for the day and then leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a reintroduction to the Fat Lady, which of course was necessary because the chapter is named after her. She has some sass on her, doesn't she?
Absolutely.
Harry walked through, said the password, went around the commons area, decided I don't want to hang around with Colin, decided to leave, and she's like, "Why did you even bother waking me up if you're just going to come through again?"
And you see that's something I find interesting too. Is like the people or the images in these pictures, how you want to explain it, they sleep.
Right. Sure.
Do they need to sleep, or do they just get bored and so they decide to sleep, or like how alive are these paintings?
Total just sheer boredom, I think.
Because like we learned last year, I believe, because when we had Colin Creevy, our favorite photographer, he learned that you just develop a special solution and then they move.
Right.
I mean, I get the idea that these are probably a little bit different because I believe they're paintings, not pictures necessarily. Right. And now we've seen already with like Sir Cadogan last week,
who can move from painting to painting.
Exactly.
But are they only his paintings that he can move to, or?
Well, because he was interacting with the ladies in the crinolines.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't his painting.
Sure. Good point.
Like he seemed to be just running along the paintings on the wall, whatever was there, and
yeah. I guess how I imagined it originally when I read it was just like a bunch of like Green Hill paintings and him just like running from one to another, Sure. But I guess I didn't really think about him actually going to other paintings of other people and such.
Yep.
Huh. Okay. Interesting. There's a whole another world on the other side of the paintings.
Something like that.
Kind of feels like it, doesn't it?
Like I definitely it feels like these paintings have some special quality that is different than just a moving photograph.
Yes, definitely. Freedom. That's what it is. Speaking of freedom, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a curfew or anything at Hogwarts, or like are students actually okay to just wander around the halls as they please? It hasn't really ever been firmly established that like you have to be in bed at a certain time, or
I don't know that it's actually been brought up yet, but I believe there is a curfew.
okay.
Because I mean, it is a school. It is they do want the students to get some sleep or at least settle down, not be running around at all hours.
Sure.
The teachers, professors want to get some sleep. So yeah, there is a cutoff time.
Right.
And because I mean, you remember they were when they used to sneak around the castle, they were always worried about Filch.
That's true. Yeah.
Getting caught by Filch at night.
But was it getting caught by him, or was it just them not wanting to deal with him?
I think it's getting caught by him.
Just something I was wondering as I was thinking about Harry just aimlessly wandering around the halls. Like, is that okay? Can you just do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think just during the day, on the weekend, like I don't think it was a big deal.
Sure.
Really.
I guess I just don't know what private school like that is like, you know?
Sure.
I don't have a reference point.
Yeah. Generally speaking, yeah, it's gonna be okay. Like if he wanted to go to the library or something to study, like he's gonna have to wander through the halls.
Sure, that's true.
And he's not gonna have to get permission every time he wants to do it, or have an escort or something like that. Like that wouldn't make sense, especially for every student.
I mean, that's what ghosts are for, though, right?
There's even a limited supply of those, though. So.
Yeah, that's true. Grindylows.
Yes.
Grindylows?
So, I'll be honest again here.
Okay.
I have always read this as Grindylow.
Okay.
Putting an extra L in there right before the Y.
Okay.
Because that comes off the tongue better for me.
Grindylow.
So, yeah. But looking at the spelling again, it's like, okay, yeah, I've probably been saying that wrong. Grindylow. It's one of those I'm pretty sure is made up, or at least kind of obscure, that not everybody knows how to pronounce it. So however you want to pronounce it, JK, we'll go with that.
Sure.
And it may actually get a movie mention at some point, but it's probably just like one briefly.
Right.
And so it's not really a big deal.
It wasn't a big part of the scene. I mean, it was just kind of one swimming around in a tank, so.
Yeah. Other than the fact that now Funko made a mini pop of them.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's what the third one is.
Yes.
Ah, okay. Because we had the Pixie and the Mandrake, and I didn't know what that third thing was. Got it.
Yep. It was a Grindylow.
Cool. All right, that makes sense. Look at that. Starting to know all about this stuff, Matt.
Yep. Do you actually have those in your collection?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Yeah. I just looked them up that one time when I was curious what the Pixies look like, and you told me to look it up.
Yep.
What Harry fears the most is fear itself.
That's what it would suggest, as Lupin put it, yes.
Intriguing. Because we've known Harry to not be too fearful of much in our brief time with him.
Yeah.
You know, he's put us with some things, and he is pretty fearless when it comes down to it.
Well, yeah. Once you defeated Voldemort, like, what do we say now, 3 times, basically?
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be the biggest, baddest thing out there.
Right.
What are you going to fear?
Sure. I mean, I still stand by. I think that he fears letting Dumbledore down.
Sure, but
being a disappointment, you know.
how do you materialize that?
Oh, I don't know. I have no idea how you materialize that.
Dumbledore with a frowny face.
Dumbledore's so sad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know, you know. And Harry, in his head, thought that the thing that he feared the most was the Dementor. We didn't actually get to see the Boggart turn into what he feared the most.
Yep.
It didn't seem that way, at least.
No, we didn't get to see it at all. Lupin stepped in right before.
Sure.
He actually distracted the Boggart.
Yeah.
Like I think he even yelled like over here or something.
Right.
To get its attention, and it's like, yeah, look at me, pay attention to me.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
You know, because that makes me think that it probably, you know, Lupin saying, hey, we didn't really feel like bringing Voldemort, or at least a representation of him, into Hogwarts was a good idea.
Yep.
But I don't feel like that's really accurate. I don't feel like that. He knows something, and I think he's just saying that because he thinks Harry will believe him or go with it, because it kind of makes sense. But also, Harry's kind of smart enough to know, like, wait, hold on. I'm not really scared of that dude. Why would that, happen? It's the Dementors I'm kind of freaked out about because of that last whole, run-in I had with him.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to think of this.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it like this too. Lupin is one of the adults, and we went over this. I think maybe just last week with like the Weasley parents.
Mm-hmm.
What do they actually know about the adventures of Ron and Harry?
Just the Cliff Notes.
Exactly.
The highlights.
And at best, I think that's all Lupin has to go off of.
See, you keep telling me that, Matt, but I don't believe it.
I mean, he's known Harry, like he's known of Harry, sure, but he's known Harry less than any of the other adults. The other adults have known him for 2 years now, gotten to meet him a couple of times, the teachers in particular, but the
Matt,
yes,
is Sirius Black disguising himself as Professor Lupin? Oh, is that how Sirius Black got into Hogwarts? Is that why Snape is so friendly with him? Because they're both bad dudes? Possibly from the House of Slytherin? Oh, that's crazy. Wait, hold on. I need to formulate this. Okay. Lupin wears robes. He wears just raggedy, garbage, old robes. Everybody thinks he's very unassuming. He's been with Harry since the train. Now, but Dumbledore would have had to hire him. So Dumbledore would have, I would think. I mean, he also hired Lockhart, so that doesn't really pan out too well. But I would think that he would have some sort of confidence that he was bringing in the right dude for the job. But he also thought that about Lockhart, so maybe that's not true. But maybe Lupin was an actual person at one point, and maybe Sirius Black killed the old Lupin and then is disguising himself as Lupin looked like before.
So how is he consistently looking like Lupin?
I don't know. I don't know how magic works, Matt. I'm not. You're talking to the Muggle here. I've been trying to figure out how. Okay. The Dementors were definitely. No, they would have. Because he put the Dementor in his place on the train. Lupin did.
he did.
And apparently the Dementors are really good at seeing through the BS and through invisibility cloaks and all that good stuff. So you'd think that they'd be able to see through Sirius Black pretending to be this Professor Lupin dude.
You'd think so.
You'd think so.
But you've already told me you're starting to doubt the Dementor's power.
That's true. I don't think they're worth anything at this point.
And we know on the train Lupin had a wand.
Maybe he's controlling them.
Which is something that Black wouldn't have had in Azkaban.
He wouldn't. Where'd he get it from? Who did he steal that wand from? Okay, I'm just put a pin on this, Matt.
All right.
I'm trying to connect some dots here. And by the end of the chapter, all we know is that Sirius Black got into Hogwarts, and this Professor Lupin, who seems like he's like, you know, the ideal professor, who is friendly with Snape, which is very curious in its own right. You know, I don't trust that little friendship going on at all.
Well, yeah, Harry thinks it's strange too.
Yeah. Like, he just comes out of nowhere. He's protecting Harry. He's being like the professor of the year. And then, like, all of a sudden Sirius Black actually gets into Hogwarts, even though it's supposed to be pretty much on lockdown. Unless he came back with the kids when they got back from Hogsmeade. How'd that happen? God. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that, Matt. Snape and Lupin, though. I don't trust this little friendship. I mean, Lupin seemed cool with it. Snape, I don't trust his... I don't trust him fully. You know? Is it genuine? Is this little... He was making some sort of potion for him. What's the potion for? They didn't explain that, Matt. Is the potion...
I believe he said it was for his health.
His health, yeah. That's a very vague explanation. Is the potion to keep him looking like Professor Lupin? If he didn't take the potion, he'd turn into Sirius Black?
Well, the potion we know about, the Polyjuice potion, that changes your appearance. I believe Hermione said it only lasted for an hour.
Yeah. I don't think it's a Polyjuice potion.
Yeah.
Something else. There's something else going on. Something that only Snape would know how to do. Like, he's an expert potion maker, right?
Yep.
He's capable of some things with those potions.
I'm sure.
Wow. This was a revelation here, Matt.
Yeah, I greatly enjoyed that, actually. Live on air, hearing how you like formulate these theories.
Usually it happens before, but I hadn't started to put... Oh, wow. Okay. Lupin seems to respect Snape. Again, because he is a very, you know, excellent potion maker.
Yep.
Gotta give him props for that.
Everybody will admit to that. I think even the students would tell you that. Dumbledore obviously knows that. And I think that once again shows part of the reason that he keeps him at that position.
Yeah, I kind of thought that too.
He's so good at it.
Yeah.
He is the best one for that job.
Yeah.
Could he handle the Defense Against Dark Arts job? Probably. But he's a really good potion maker.
Yeah. Could they find somebody equally as good to take his job?
Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously Lupin wouldn't be up to it.
Right.
He said, yeah, like I was never much of a potion maker. Like, yeah. It's that wasn't my thing. Like, it's obviously Snape seems to be his specialty almost.
Interesting. More on this later, I think. We got our first Butterbeer reference.
We did.
Holy cow, Matt. Hallelujah.
And something I didn't remember.
The fudge?
No.
Oh.
But
I think about that fudge quite a bit.
the butterbeer, the first reference we get is actually hot butterbeer.
Yeah, warms you up.
Well, no, not just that it warms you up. It's referred to as hot butterbeer.
Oh, hot frothy? Did it also say frothy?
Possibly.
I might be making that word up.
I can look it up real quick.
No, not important.
But I have the page marked, so
All right, fine.
it doesn't. It's not too hard.
Sure. You're right though. Like every time we've always talked about butterbeer, you've always explained to me that it's been incredibly vague on whether or not it is some sort of alcoholic beverage or not.
Well, yeah, because I mean, we'll see this more as we get into the later books too. Like, J.K. keeps these books written with a younger audience in mind.
Absolutely. But
so things might be implied, but she's not gonna directly say them.
Right.
So the line here is, into 3 broomsticks for foaming mugs of hot butterbeer.
Foaming, not frothy. Okay.
Yes.
Man, I want butterbeer again.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Anyway, so it's nice to finally have that official reference. I now feel like I'm in the loop on what's going on.
We're getting there. I'm telling you.
Slowly but surely.
We'll get you on the inside.
Yeah. Percy, we all know that you're head boy. You don't need to announce that every time you enter a room.
But he does.
I mean, this is October, this is Halloween. Like, you've been at school for 2 months now. Like, we all know you're head boy, Percy.
But can't you just see his character actually
100%.
walking into the room every time? And it's like, but I am head boy.
Head boy here. Yeah, 100%. The fat lady portrait was torn to shreds.
Yes.
Torn, ripped, shredded. Was it claws? Was it a knife? I don't know. I do not know. But the fat lady was gone.
Yeah.
Peeves know where she went. Peeves.
At least he says so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, can you really trust that poltergeist? I don't know.
Like, you like to think that when talking to Dumbledore, he would, calm down and make some sense.
Sure.
But right now, we're getting like a at least third-hand report. Peeves claimed that the fat lady said that Sirius was in the castle. That
right. And he's like hanging out upside down. Like, what he reminds me of?
What's that?
Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
Like, he just kind of floats around. Like, he's kind of
pops up at random times and
kind of pokes the bear a little bit sometimes.
Yep.
And tries to mislead you if he can, and
Yep.
smiles at you and makes you try to believe whatever he's saying, even though his fingers are crossed behind his back. He's a lot like Cheshire Cat here.
I can see that.
Yeah. And then, of course, the cliffhanger of all cliffhangers. Sirius Black is apparently in Hogwarts.
Yes.
And in all caps, Matt, all I wrote was, how did Sirius Black get into Hogwarts? Where are the Dementors? Ah!
That is the big question.
Where are the Dementors? They are shooed away by Professor Lupin, a.k.a. Sirius Black. What does he have against Harry? I still don't know. There's a lot of questions still to be answered. But
it's true.
I think we're getting closer as to figuring out how he got into Hogwarts. Dun, dun, dun. CSI Hogwarts is on the case, Matt.
Well, I don't know if we'll find out exactly how he got into Hogwarts, or if he is in Hogwarts, or if he's still there, or whatever the case may be. But I can say that if you thought these chapters were exciting in the slightest, next week's chapters are going to be amazing.
Oh, boy. Well, can we just fast forward through Christmas and get to this already?
Do you really want to skip Christmas?
Matt, we had a breakthrough here. I don't know how long I can hold on to this excitement.
All right.
We'll see. I don't know what night I'm going to have a harder time sleeping, Christmas Eve or Tales from Godric's Hollow Eve.
Yes.
One of the two. Next week we will definitely be talking about chapters 9 and 10 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Matt, do we have any emails for tonight?
Well, before we go there,
I'm
actually going to bring us back to the Muggle Poll.
Okay.
Because we never actually went through it.
See, I got all excited about the Shrieking Shack, Matt.
I know. And I let you do your thing. I wasn't going to interrupt that at all.
And then I just distracted you.
But like I said, I was planning on bringing it up towards the end of the episode anyway. So
okay. Well,
it's all good.
Fair enough.
That we've made our way through Hogsmeade.
I just pulled a David Blaine on you, Matt. Made you look at my left hand over here, while on the right hand I'm secretly working in a crazy conspiracy.
Oh, I knew we had to come back to it. I knew we skipped it, but like I said,
all right, fine. Time. Muggle Poll, episode 25.
Muggle Poll, yes. So at the top of the list, with a whopping 40%, we have Honeydukes. Apparently, we have some Sweet Tooths out there.
Sure.
Coming in second with 37, we had the Three Broomsticks. 17% for Zonkos, and it actually had 6% for Dervish and Bangs.
Yeah.
I think Dervish and Bangs is probably a bit underrated just because it's so generic at this point. It's like wizarding equipment.
Right.
Like, okay, sure.
Sure.
Things you need, but you don't really get excited about.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'm a little surprised the joke shop was so low.
I think our audience likes to eat, Matt.
Yeah. Honeydukes and Three Broomsticks. I don't know about you, but I definitely voted for the Three Broomsticks.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah. Brandy here actually put it best. It's exactly what's going through my mind, basically. Going to the Three Broomsticks first to have some libations before the rest of my shopping.
Right.
It's like, yeah, go there, grab butterbeer, you can walk around town.
Yep. I'm going wherever the butterbeer is sold.
I'm pretty sure that's what we did when we went to Hogsmeade in California.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm pretty sure we went, got some butterbeer, and walked around.
Yep.
Yeah.
More than once.
And our friend Alex, of course, levitating gumballs. I rest my case.
There's levitating gumballs at Honeydukes?
Was that not mentioned in this chapter?
I don't think so. Maybe I was just so preoccupied with thinking about the Shrieking Shack.
Yeah. I could see you missing that.
Sure. I mean, it's not really a surprise. I mean, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's not really spoiling much.
No. I'm pretty sure it was mentioned somewhere. I'm just trying to remember where it was. Like, obviously, yes, it's a thing.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, sorry for skipping over the Muggle Poll the first time.
No worries.
We got back to it. Thank you all for responding. Yep. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Now, can we get to emails?
Now, we have one email.
One email.
Can you guess who it's from?
In my mind's eye, I'm seeing a 4-letter word. Not that 4-letter word. Nope. Alex.
You can predict the future, Josh. Your divination studies have taught you well.
You know what? I've been practicing, Matt.
All right. Dear Josh and Matt, I would like to start off this email by answering a question you posed in your previous episode, referencing which Hogwarts house I belong to. When I was younger, I had always fancied myself a Gryffindor, as I imagine most people do when reading the books. Though self-reflection later in life made me realize the qualities of Gryffindor house are not my strong suits. And I'll stop right there and say I was right there with him too.
Okay.
I mean, my first time through the books, I'm like, oh, of course I'd be in Gryffindor. They're the good house. That's where I want to be. But yeah, the more I look at it, it's like, okay, yeah, I guess, yeah, I'm probably not like I like to think I'm brave, but honestly, I'm not going to be the first one to step forward and say, hey, let's go do this.
Sure.
Let's go into the Chamber of Secrets. And like, no, I'm that's not me. That's so
Right.
yeah, I'm right there with you. However, I have never taken the official Pottermore sorting quiz, not for any particular reason. But so as not to leave your lovely listeners in suspense, I took it upon myself to take the quiz. And if the arbitrary questions on the website are to be believed, I belong in Ravenclaw.
The house that does not exist.
He's a fellow Ravenclaw with me. Well, I think this choice makes a lot of sense for me, given my personality. If truth be told, my inner child is slightly hurt that I do not belong to the same house as the great Harry Potter. But at least it's better than Hufflepuff.
Oh, wow. Okay. Gotcha. Also, I'd just like to point out that you two now make up more Ravenclaw than has actually been described in 3 books of Harry Potter so far.
It's true.
So, that's the thing.
As for the assigned reading this week, I really don't have much to say. It was about as straightforward as it gets, but I would love to see Josh tackle a Boggart and freak out about a giant sentient rainbow parachute.
God. Oh, it would be the stupidest fear ever. Oh my God, I would have been such an idiot in that class, Matt.
Yep. And
how do you make that ridiculous? How do you make that laughable?
I know. When he wrote that in, and like everybody else would be laughing already when the giant rainbow parachute appears.
I'll just be laying on the floor, crippled of fear.
Yep. That's the thing. I don't know what you do to it. Like, rainbow parachutes are supposed to be happy, fun, and jolly. That's why like kindergartners play with them.
Or bananas in crates, like. God, I have some stupid fears, Matt.
I know.
I would have failed that class. Neville would have been laughing at me. That's probably why Hufflepuff don't take any classes like that. They're just like, this is going to be bad for you guys. This is not going to end well.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they are not in the Defense Against the Dark Arts classes at any point in their school.
I'm pretty sure it's required.
I don't know. If you're a Hufflepuff, I think you get exceptions.
You didn't get to choose your classes until your 3rd year, and then even then you had to keep your classes that you were in.
Well, I know, but I'm pretty sure they saw Hufflepuff and they're like, "You're not doing this class." You guys, no.
Okay, so Gryffindor first years get Defense Against Dark Arts.
Well, they need to. They're brave and strong.
Hufflepuff first years get basket weaving.
Probably.
Okay.
Home ec.
Yes.
Cooking.
How to make a broomstick.
Sure. Probably. Flubberworm farms. Oh, goodness.
But yeah, that's all we have for emails this week. So.
All right. Well, as always, thank you to Alex for writing in. If anybody out there would like to write in at any point, be free to do so about anything. Tell me how crazy I am, or tell Matt how insanely right I am, and you both are just hands on your cheeks, just amazed at my ability to predict what's going to happen.
How does he do it?
Right? I don't know. Probably not the case, but regardless. Matt, this was a fun episode.
Absolutely.
We had a great time.
For such short chapters. Yeah. Definitely got a lot out of it.
Definitely did. It was nice.
A lot of new theories.
A lot of new theories. New classes, new professors. Just some good things going on. I like it.
Yeah.
Next week, of course, the day after Christmas, we will be back to record chapters 9 and 10 of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas that celebrates Christmas. If there's another holiday that you celebrate, I hope you have a wonderful holiday as well. basically, I just hope you have a good, push towards the end of the year here. We're almost out of 2016. We're barreling straight into 2017. And, it's cold weather. It's a time for family and friends and enjoying one another. And I hope everybody has the opportunity to take advantage of this very special time, regardless of whatever holidays you may celebrate. With that being said, you can find me, the Muggle of the show, on Twitter at The Noise. And be sure to follow the show on Twitter at Tales from GH. And once again, we have launched a Patreon if you'd like to support us as we continue to grow this community, as we dare to do more giveaways and more cool things to help keep the show running as it is. You can do so over at patreon.com/Tales from Godric's Hollow. Matt, where could everybody find you at, my friend?
Oh, you can find me personally on Twitter at As a Matter of Matt. A lot of Harry Potter stuff going on there usually.
Harry Potter and Packer football.
It's true. At
least for 2 more weeks.
Hey, they're doing
I said
very well right now.
At least. They're a scary team in the playoffs this year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if you want to get a hold of the show, if you want to send me emails for next week, if you want to talk behind Josh's back, whatever the case may be, you can reach the show at talesfromgodricshollow@gmail.com.
Absolutely. And we encourage you to write about, the reading of the week, or, if you're behind a few episodes or wherever you're at, write in about anything you want to talk about. We encourage any and all emails. They are a lot of fun for sure. With that being said, again, Matt, thank you. We will see you guys next week. But until then, Muggle out.
Mischief managed.